Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Dignity of Our Breathing, a Disability Pride Month poetry reading. My name is Ophi Davis, and I am the Assistant to Access and Interpretation at the Whitney Museum. I use they and he pronouns. I am an Indigenous person with dark hair, wearing a beige shirt and dark wash jeans. I have medium toned skin and many visible tattoos. My access needs include clear communication, masks, and patience and understanding as I read from this script. Access resources tonight include an ASL interpreter, real-time cart captioning, a hybrid format, cozy in-person space with masks, and allergen-conscious snacks. If anyone needs anything at all, please feel free to ask a Whitney staff member designated by the lanyard and name tag. There will be an opportunity for questions at the end of the evening if time allows. For folks on Zoom, please feel free to type your questions in the chat. For folks in person, we have index cards for you to write questions on at any point. Please leave them in the basket on the back table or hand them to a Whitney staff member. We will share the questions with Joselia during the Q&A. Now, I want to share with you all the museum's land acknowledgement. The Whitney is located in Lenape-Hoking, the ancestral homeland of the Lenape. The name Manhattan comes from their word Mannahatta, meaning island of many hills. The museum's current site is close to land that was a Lenape fishing and planting site called Saponkanikan, which translates to tobacco field. The Whitney acknowledges the displacement of this region's original inhabitants and the Lenape diaspora that exists today. I acknowledge the Lenape as the historical and rightful stewards of this unceded land. The Whitney Museum has celebrated the passage of the ADA with events centered around disability art and artistry since 2015. Past celebrations have included performances and talks with Leroy Moore, Rodney Evans, Jerron Herman, Kinetic Light, Kayla Hamilton, Joselia Rebekah Hughes, and Judy Human. May her memory be a blessing. This year, we are excited to honor and celebrate Disability Pride Month and disabled people outright. It is a joy to welcome back Joselia to facilitate this ever timely and ever meaningful poetry reading, as well as the artists Dan Schapiro, Jackie Torres, and Kay Ulanday Barrett. Thank you all for sharing this space with us.
Hi, everyone. This is Joselia speaking. I have a few opening remarks that I may or may not divert from, but I'm a Black woman with closely cropped hair and blue geometric glasses. I'm wearing a navy dress with a green and white abstracted floral pattern. I'm joining you from the comfort of my bed. My back hurts. Thank you for sharing this evening with us. I hope you find yourself in comfort, ease, and rest. And I'd like to share a few thank yous. Thank you to everyone who helped this event come into fruition: Echo, Daima, Ophi, Tim, and the rest of the Whitney staff, our interpreter and captioner, Andrea and Kara. Thank you to Dan, Jackie, and Kay for sharing your work and insights. And I'm thankful that we can gather together in the multiplicities of our beings, in the tremendous wash of our thoroughness to share in love, rage, curiosity, grief, hope, and so much else with our dignity intact and gleaming. So in an effort to not overwork the point, let's get going. And our first reader will be Dan Schapiro.
Hi, everyone. I repeat all of Joe's thank yous. I'm going to be reading from a book I wrote called Whole Play. And just as a brief visual description, I am a white Jew in a low-hanging white tank top, wearing a small Star of David necklace, and a kind of, I don't know what color this is, coral nightgown in front of a wall of various posters. So this first one is called Poem. The work is cold, the cold in turn works us. Each turning turns us once more to the left. Here, right, now, left we have but a finite amount of wonders, Victoria being one of the tallest and quite possibly most beautiful waterfalls in the world, of course. Everyone's friend is beautiful, but I am not everyone's friend. Brilliant, but not so beautiful, Greco giving head. I'm laughing in the ocean. I feel like a nomad. You would fuck me for this. Tell me you would. I do breathe, my friends, truly, so it sucks when you just go. Take my breath away. The hole in my sky, the sky in my hole. Everything hurls everything. My boyfriend is a hurtful bird, so beautiful he burns an image, a hole in me. Petrify me in the stone, cold light of your cock. I tell them it's like driving fresh flowers. I tell them it's like fresh into skull, driving flowers. Manifesto. I tend to take a shower, they say, ASMR, you have the plague, autoimmune disease, music falls away like water, quarantine, I want you to go, get your life together, I recommend you lie, manifest, manifest, cough drops. The sky is a picture of being sorry. The sky is a picture of being sorry. I take it. I'll take it with my whole. My whole being sorry. Mom, the light asked me to close. Mom, I cannot close the light, the window, the flowers, as flowers hole in the dead, as flowers bore of our dead. Deep, deep loss of holes. Hello, I am Ms. Walker with the Health Department, and I need to reach you regarding a confidential matter. Please call me at redacted. Hello, I just tried calling. I was calling out. I will call you now. Image 8610, image 8609, image 8599, image 8606, image 8611, image 8601, image 8605, image 8600, image 8598. Thank you. Which one is your profile image or logo? Image 8597. Okay, thank you. Image 8601. What is the profile name of this person with the sunglasses and hat on? He doesn't have one. He's DL. Okay, thank you. Also, my ex's number is redacted. I need the date of birth and other details, just like the same questions that I asked you earlier. Redacted, he's Latino, I don't know DOB, but 21, lives in the city, 5'6"-ish. First and last time you had a sexual encounter, etc. I think first was August 2018, last was December 2018. Where does he live? Did you use condoms? Do you remember all of the questions that I asked you? Please be specific in your response if you can. We didn't use condoms, but I think he was tested afterward and was negative. I topped him. He probably lives in Brooklyn now. He speaks English, correct? Were there any domestic violence concerns? He speaks English, no DB concerns. Any facial hair, etc.? I'm not sure anymore. He could have shaved. Good morning, Daniel. This is Mrs. Walker. We spoke yesterday. The person who goes between the two names, Korean guy, what borough does he live in and where did the encounter take place? The encounter was at their apartment in Brooklyn. Does he speak English? They do, yes. Okay, and the other people were met on the site called Grindr, correct? Yes. Okay, just wanted to clarify. Thank you for your cooperation. But what could be more Christian Zionist than self-harm? I mean, what other gesture could so ritually convey that I alone choose /am chosen /burning / sorry. This one's called March 27th. I have not eaten, so drinking is the most efficient route to terror. Standing outside the cock, and he is smoking a wet cigarette. Oh, by the way, I'm positive I could have fucked his silence. I'm at the cock and I will not be getting cocked tonight. Bouncer calls me babe and sends me off into the negative. Night, dirty, cold, tired. The weather is a police dog I saw die once. Funny how February choreographs its ritual, agony, despair, eventual willful dependence, etc., such that one is surprised to rise anew each day, simply like bread, paganite, no death mists, my foggy little head. It is not even March 27, and I am already worried. I once fell in love with a boy simply because of the way he would piss in public parks. I'm not a boy, not yet a boyfriend. My boyfriend is an HIV positive ripper. His beauty hurts a bit, like, shit, you don't have to worry about bleeding a little while you're swimming within me. I actually kind of like it, he says, pushing my head back under the water. How to gather the breath to tell this walker this. Grand Concourse. What was it an old architect said? Everything we breathed was wrong. The was wrong. The story too tall, or remembered its limbs, like being that kind of old New York paused and rings of light that orb you in a dripping blue permanence. All flowers in, all flowers in. How to incomplete the endless facts of us and light, and knowing that we'll never be that kind of cold, never quite so shivered, fluent in the silent, stilted tragedy of it. But still I pinion a glance to the white entablature of the sky. A wing aches to open, another wing, or we can both be scrimmed, scales, scars. I don't care a drop, dreaming a line across the grand extinguishing face. That is our sun. Warm regards, sincerely yours, Daniel. As it was for the Hittites and the Assyrians, the Phoenicians and the Persians, and ever shall be writ. Water keeps being here. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dan. Next, we will have Jackie Torres sharing work.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jackie. I am a light-skinned, multiracial person. I am wearing a black tank top, black round frame glasses. I have a silver septum ring, a navy headscarf, like a handkerchief, and silver over-the-ear headphones. My first piece is called Geppetto. Heart out of rhythm and confused. Hurt if I move too quickly, too slow to keep up, whiplash and love longing. It would appear I don't remember how to make or be a friend. Closest relationships long established and burns like cigarette holes where blistering flashes that fashioned themselves forever once made their mark. I am both too old and too young yet for a blue fairy. Some external guarantee to opt me out of lonely. I am to spend the years between birth and death deciphering for myself. Turns out that people who loved me quickly didn't love me very much at all. Turns out the blitzkrieg was always meant to overwhelm me, throw me off the scent. Turns out that love is a continuation, a series of building blocks, a long game I never learned how to play. Don't know how to decipher play from play acting. Not sure if I'm a cynic or just unwilling to play pretend. I would like to skip the early stages. Wake up established companions with a durably weathered and delicately curated connection. Want to already know and be known. I want the silence companionable, the activity humdrum, the love abundant and incapable of being captured by language. I dream more about friends than I spend time making them, or being one. Getting it wrong again will surely destroy me. Why can't it be easy? Where is the guidebook for the forgetful among us? This is called In Defense of Bitterness, where it chews me through the middle like cannon fire, where the wound is warm and sticky, where it leaves me gutted, vulnerable, see-through. I want to vomit up the bitter, but it has chewed a hole in me, flesh-eating disease, hungry for bits of body, not easily replicated. I am deeply bitter at this body I have tried hard to love. Fluttering spirit banging on the cage. No, I am not tired yet. No, I want to stay awake. No, I want to watch the sky become a blanket of stars. I want to dream. Think of a world where I can soar the way I need, but this body winds down before dusk. Closes up shop periodically throughout the day, squeaks I can't as it shutters the storefront, and my spirit cries as my body sleeps. I am deeply bitter and afraid of moss. Sentiments of gentility are just that, sentiments in a world prepared to abandon you. No one slows down when you can't keep up. Instead, they invent new ways to continue spinning the earth faster on its axis, and despite protestations, are glad to be caught in the orbit. You may get a glance in passing, but gentility is a concept. Gentility is a myth. Gentility is dead. In a world where none can afford to be gentle, I am supposed to be. I am supposed to be kind to my spirit and this body, the person with a spirit of jagged steel cutting into the fleshy parts that so desperately now need tenderness. I'm so tired of this existence where everything hurts, where everything has always hurt. How to move forward without leaning too hard on moving. How to give in, how to live in the fog of slumber. How to practice gentility when I don't feel it, don't possess it. When there is nothing for me to feel gentle about, when I am not glad to be alive, when this future is dismal, when my personal is constantly globalized, I am tired in oh so many ways. This next piece is called June. I wrote this for a friend of mine that I lost at the beginning of Pride Month last year. And one of our, I guess, things that bonded us was our commentary on Pride Month. So this is for them. Banners and confetti, subjects of our ire, wondering when we get the chance for angst, when we get to be angry, when we get to cry. I wanted to tell my mom you were gone, but she's dead too. So now I am here in a world without you both, figuring out how it could be that if I think real hard, I remember what it felt like in your presence. I am numb these days to everything but despair and anger. I don't think I'm ready for this. The true hallmark of aging, growing to lose friends, to time, to distance, to death, to memory. I have seldom since found joy before the sunrise, digging through mud for dimes, grinning through my gritted, grimy teeth. Sometimes you are exactly where you need to be, even though you'd rather be anywhere else. And perversely, you don't know it until much later. The second love lost, slipped through the cracks in my fingers, calloused from carrying knowing, distinct, stirring discomfort. There is no glamour when it doesn't get better, when the world cannot be glossed, when your parents don't want you, when the bills are stacked and the jobs won't call. Where do you fit when you cannot be twisted into legibility, when you refuse to break your bones, refuse to have them ground to dust and shot from a cannon, when you confront comfort, refuse to assuage, when folks pretend they do not see, refuse to be associated, step further away, the chasm widens. No one reaches to catch, the ravines become littered with bodies, a potter's field. I am a one-person funeral procession, enough gloom and grief for all of us, banners and confetti, subjects of our ire, stifled behind giggles and good nature. Somewhere there is some part of me still there, a timeline parallel and behind. There you are, there I will keep you, here in this heart where you are preserved in the only corner that is still warm. This is called Today I Forgive. Today I forgive myself, for not always being perfect, for not being able to fix everything, for wasting my opening minutes of this exercise using my power to forgive others. I forgive myself for loving. I forgive myself for not seeing the signs. I forgive myself for wanting to love anyway. I forgive myself for being tenderhearted. Doesn't it feel better to live here with nature? It was never the fault of you or the fault of wildflower beauty. Remember the catharsis of your cascades. Remember what it's like to have range the next time you curse your human heart. The next time you beg for icy blood, the wolves here shape shift and play tricks. Every time you learn a little more. Every time your vision gets sharper. Every time you spot the cloak in his teeth, the bones in his back pocket, the zipper by his neck. Eventually you refuse altogether. You learn to pick flowers in a way that keeps you safe and give bouquets to those who await you with a picnic. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. I feel so full, and it's raining out, it seems. Next, Kay will be sharing their work, and I'm so happy. Oh, this is great. Okay.
Thank you so much, Joselia. My name is Kay Ulanday Barrett. My pronouns are he, they, and sha. I'm currently in the unceded occupied land of Lenape, Muncie, Hoking people in New Jersey. I'm a brown, light brown, round queer with glasses, and I have a gray hat and black mesh shirt. To be underwater and holy. Every survivor is splendor. Every spoon is sacred. Every cough is an altar on the bend of a rib cage. Every cane is a drum calling into the earth. You'll be told that you are not worthy of a party. You will be told that you're not celebration, so why exist at all? Because breath is an exhausted ship lapping the wind, because your muscles are the fatigue of a sunset, and when your bodies are carnal waves collapsing, remember, together we can find the shore. Together we can rock and wave and rest and float together. We need to move together. Together we can be the grit as promising as the sound of shells. Our lineage tells us there will always be land and ocean in our bones. So after every shift of tide, no matter the catastrophe, please hold on if you can. Here's a promise now. Dare to press an ear against my chest, and on this love, we'll grow scales for every current. We'll part every sea like scripture. Thank you. This next poem is a pastoral. It is for my chosen family, Jelani Fontaine and Belen Birhanu. Sick pastoral, a sick ecology poem. Then how does candy spill? This way. Stare at the sky as the My Chart results record blood levels. Peach laden, cherry lacquer, lilac blossom marathon, more at a windowsill on an almost evening in, wait, dang, what month is it? Okay, when statistics splay, when the masks are forgotten, there'll be more of us to teach. Catheters are IV. Montserrat fenestration consoles when you're on hold with the pharmacy again and you grow impatient. Breath both spasm, spontaneity, and apricot colored view. Skin scales, skin fails, fish gut gratuitous inflammation, or how about that hippo rhinoceros hybrid unfurling knuckles into your neck? Yes? Your dog will curl into the canyon of your shoulder. No doubt, your cat can scale the ridge of your couch overlooking a lakefront of laundry. When do you teleport to your mother's palm softness for a dizzy haven. That must be your default safety place, huh? Do train tracks thrum into a yop caw? Are you the wolf, howling gut punch, scurrying to the toilet? Or wait, are you just the toilet? Is it kidneys again? And what of your river bend back? And what of the blood rains from your second or fourth surgery? That was totally Jupiter harpooning into Saturn's rings. Now there's leopard print welts on your abdomen. Is your body the costume, or are you just the impersonator? Unhuman. And sometimes forceps are rotten tulips. And sometimes it feels like you are the dead bouquet, just kept around from a good occasion. Oh, sweet memory. Oh, dehydration of the moment. Storm aftermath abandoned. You breathe a fleet of weeps or cumulus cascade, depending on the day. How you lily pad from one scowl to another missed meal. Speaking of frogs, is your skin still inflamed? How you raindrop, how you quietly pebble, how you can evaporate as thin as air. High pain might not be cosmology, but oh my kindred, how you end up seeing all the stars anyway. Thank you. Side note, not pertaining, content warning for mentions of death and trans violence. I learned that archaeologists argue about gender of corpses they find. So, binary cisgender reinforcement, white supremacy, ableist tool, real man, real woman, fails us. Eugenics, right? Fails us, each other, nature. So this poem is new. A post-mortem story, or how archaeologists might fail me. More than my femurs will be found sprouting below a lilac bush. My left front tooth, a wavy millimeter, my pelvic bone, an avenue and U-turn. Archaeologists might find a body like mine, one like burnt clay pots, my cheekbones compressed by loam, my tibia long as a brittle bow that once kicked up to the wind, to argue about my bone dust before I'm actually dead, to silhouette my afterlife like video game. Do you think a schematic of a human is only calcium? Did you know that trans people recognize more than marrow? Did you know the state or documents could never jot down my plot twists? 80 policies introduced in law say trans children cannot play sports, cannot mouth truths to doctors. Congress wants so badly to get between our legs, to dictate a child how to run, what indicates triumph, so obsessed by wonder-bred lives, to harangue the young and forecast the dead. Sacrum and tailbone are not some confetti. Trans people on Reddit make psalm on keyboards, obliterate possible pencils from our bones. One said he'd rather swallow flames, his sinew turned to soot, so archaeologists don't fumble pronouns even after we've become our own blossoms full of blood. I do not blame them. When I am dead, maybe I'll drift to the sea. My shoulder blade bedazzled with anemone, my collarbone filaments swerved on the rising tide of some bashful lovers at sunset, a constellation of quiet carrion nestled in the blushing shimmer of a wave. One will say to the other, nah? Hey, do you see that sky? I made that for you. And by then, we will all know that trans is in everything, so continuous. It's silly to wage our wakes at top speed. Trans people have always been interstellar, becoming upturned comets when banished in outpatient psych wards, family reunions, a junior high history book. Of course, this is all speculation. Laments for a future only may be habitable as this hot, hot earth is turned into a corporation. Fahrenheit slaughters bird lungs at border walls, deer droughts next to your patrol brick. But the concern, hundreds of years after I'm long gone, is if I'm only male or female. Let's be honest. You aren't ready for the future. You fumbled that bag. Won't have enough energy to dream up these bones. As much as you want it, what's trickling isn't actually my blood yet. See, you can hardly even pronounce the piss of me in the next stall. Thank you. My last poem is a love poem. Sick for sick. This is for other spoonies who love other spoonies. Their body patched, swollen skin, hair flecks gone rogue, mismatched knees, ache knits quilt throughout. Curvature, woo, is a soft thing. They said, if we hum close, close enough that our chests touch, shared breath comes from belly up, that is not platonic. Now breathe same air. Nostril kinetic by way of brow cleft, pirouette of migraine, syllables, twirl temples. Strain is something to lull here together. Okay. When nerves are ablaze, I am told to be blankets. Lay my torso on theirs, abdomen to abdomen, core to core. Is this what a field does to a hill? Spill it with poppies. I wait on their skill. How they will sigh. The human body is heating pad, limbs bonfire, flip sheet. You cannot reverse sick. And today we don't want to. Chests pulse, soft as lake. Come spring. Come spring, we never do this again. There's only the memory of it. How their lungs cathedral, how I prayed there on the ledge of inhale, sternum sacred, coughed him, spasm luminescence, syllables stretched, muscled sacrament more than splay, us, petals in overlap, us, an ampersand on fire. Thank you so much, Joselia. Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you, Kay. Can we please have a round of applause for our readers, Dan, Jackie, and Kay? Like, I feel so warm, and like, thank you all for being here, sharing yourselves, opening up to this process. So before we have a short like Q&A, I said I'd read something. So I'm gonna read, I don't know how long I will read for. I'm going to set a timer and then we'll see what happens in the time. I will start with a piece called Denominator Mandate that I wrote for I wrote it last summer when the COVID mandates began to lift, and I found myself in a place of madness again. So denominator mandate. In an attempt to escape another 5 a.m., got sick, stayed sick, hospital memory, pink coat phlebotomist posed to puncture a butterfly needle to draw 4 vacutainers of hard to pull, hard to flow blood jam in an attempt to point pain at some other pain's back. I laughed. Seriousness or lack thereof often indicates debt, detriment, or debility, some D word undergirding detonate. Depends if the doctor systematizes teach to practice or teach to punish. Less abstractly, there's this howling outside and no open mouth screaming. I'm seeing the best. Minds of my generation destroyed by denial of long COVID, operating normal with fill in the blank range of a firing squad, fascism flirting as fitting in, sequences of brilliance severed by a stolen attention economy so valuable even the influencers need coaxing, and hell, in 10 years' time, the fog finna frame so foundational, we probably won't even remember whatever discourses misled the abstruse as insert party excellence. Still, police drive past the base of the block, heading home a balloon to pop, posting officers akimbo like lead-painted puppets stalking the chicken spot where the unemployed union delegates hang out to sidewalk erect funerals for peoples they don't know but could have. In the middle of the road, a Chevy Impala spinning red, white, and blue, a disco ball of surveillance refracted. I haven't seen the smiling face of a friend in weeks. Humiliation, mental illness, vigilance, and care can assemble a life invisible. Please remember, like the swear line on a signatory letter, love is an action of change. We keep using the word risk like we share risks aliases, but really, tell Ayers jury, tear-stained and shaken, when's the last time you held your breath to ache? What habits exact a release away? Which names you use to play craps with death? Which selves made public form and mandates? Or which opportunities can a self seize by a lack thereof? The next poem is from I started writing American sonnets earlier this year. I don't have enough for a crown, so I just call them my cap of sonnets. So I'm going to read a couple from the cap. American Sonnet 10. I, sour contract, am a terrible excuse for a sophisticate intellectual. Childhood home living, considered adult and too poor to move, a corner store Lucy accredited creation. In one youth, I read too much, learned to clock a D note, to remember about it. Trust is a hard exercise done in small jumps, double Dutch ditching fear-centered bonding, tasked with challenges learning against made casual indefinite it. You know, scarcity modeling. Wretched and undue as it is, it calls surface feelings as emotions. Choose capacious alter commons. Those choking feelings of undesire aren't the only curves with which to learn mercy. American Sonnet 8. Consider the class implications of making art. Think of the art opening as an opportunity to practice class solidarity, whatever that means. Be on and mask on lets the mask form a political scorn as practice. It's elementary to hear radical when feeling for the dead and dying and the I'm so sick, life so long, I'm trying folks who can't get an appointment to save their life. Consider the class implications of making art when a friend is left in the hospital hallway to wait away their acuteness, to die down when a friend is left for cafeteria grub. An easy social control is forgetting what mechanisms operate normal. An easy social control is permitting normal to condition your apathy. Disability is an embodiment practice. Respect that when reading me. American Sonnet 5. Post-party speaking, she's already dead. Broke and beleaguered, eligible spawn con orifice, a meager product of her growing presence on the net form as the got it together gal of God, giving excellence to modernity's timeline of atrocities without question, program, propaganda, or pillar. Patriarchy capitalizes the edge between her dollar and her. Wallet open, palm asking, come on, man, help me out. Can't you see the condition of my current? You got something I don't got. Don't you see our history? There's enough memory to make a mission. In another tract, we take care of us. We learn to give thanks to each other. We offer mercy for mercies as mad as can be. Claim 2, timed 3, made care with debris. American Sonnet 1. P.U. This street smells like shit. Dog hair floating everywhere. A song of determined mice ushering a chicken wing into a gutter. Clicked up, sicked up. I'm in this bone for life. Desdemona's at the Kona, hiking up her hem, got a switchblade in her sock and stickers on her shoes. She's a bad bitch, a soldier boy told them, and the boys laughed their brigade off the bridge. One body splash, one body slap, one body splash. Fallen's dancing too, especially when you're dead. Pish posh golly squash, I'm tired of this crisis talk. I'd like to take a nicer walk. Never seen such body chalk where the streets are clean. Thank you. And I guess, thanks y'all. We did it, yay. Also everyone in the audience, hello, at the Whitney, hey, hope y'all are feeling good, eating snacks, vibing. I guess, we have some time. So if there are questions, if we'd like to have conversation, we can do that. Ooh, we have something in the Q&A.
Oh, thank you for coming, Nelly. I really appreciate it.
Well, I guess as we wait for questions, I sort of just wanted to also say that Kay and Dan have books available. Please buy their books. If someone would like to help Jackie publish a book, please do that. We need more. Dan's book is named Whole Play. And Kay's most recent book is More Than Organs. More Than Organs is on Siblig Rivalry Press. Dan, I do not know how to pronounce the name of your...
No one does. I'll just type it.
Okay, and I can spell it aloud. Oh, we have 2 questions. Okay, let's go. So from an anonymous attendee, the question is, any advice for a blooming poet?
Hmm.
Can I hop in?
Yeah, I'll
Kay, do you need
piggyback
to go?
after you, friend.
Okay. My advice that I think has served me the best in the length of time that I've been doing this is just don't listen to the market. And I know that that's really hard because we're all trying to survive and everybody is trying to, like, you know, get material resources and do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their people. But also, I think being really intentional about not allowing like what is going on sort of industry wise to influence like what is innate to you as a writer. And that has really helped me a lot, because I think sometimes, and I've witnessed this before, I think sometimes people's voice gets altered by what they think people want to read or hear. And that ends up doing the exact opposite. So just whatever feels innate to you and whatever feels innate to your voice, like stick with that as much as makes sense for you.
I think those points are so strong and so valid. And to piggyback on that, I didn't start out as a poet. I wasn't concerned literary. When my first book in 2016, When the Chant Comes, came out, it came out through a trans press, and large literary journals did not give a bleep about my work whatsoever. So just know that you can learn from other art and other projects and other collaborators. Be very kind to people. I'm from the Midwest, so I'm very I always tell my students, like, be kind and be thoughtful, because honestly, it emanates your energy and it'll come back with you. I was really kind to somebody, just a stranger. We went to the same conferences that weren't poetry conferences. We did all these things. I supported with access, and then this person becomes an editor, right? And now we collaborate together. So just know that the poems aren't always sitting down and writing. It's also interaction based, and how you care for yourself and care for others. And lastly, I'm also an advocate for, you don't need an MFA in poetry to write poetry. I don't think that that's actually as important as everybody says it is. I think they don't even teach you how to format a book. They teach you individual poems, how to assess them, how to break them down, how to write them. But when it comes time to compose a book, you know nothing. Basta learn from other people. If you have the privilege to get scholarships to go to fellowships, that's what I did. Other people believed in my work and were kind to me. That's how I got this gig through Joselia, we're kind, thoughtful people. So please harvest those connections first, and the poems will come, because then people you write with or people who notice you will be like, oh, I really like that. Are you available for this thing? Or do you edit? Or, hey, I saw you did this thing. Do you judge? Do you judge contests? So it builds every second. Just trust that it'll build every second, and do other art that's not literary. That'll nourish you.
Yeah, I'll echo all of that, and I'll just say, like, listen to the voices, like however those voices manifest for you. Like, they can be ancestral, they can be like, just the madness coming through. And also don't get caught up in kind of like thinking that there's some sort of prestigious like form that you need to aspire to. Obviously, form is really great and form is fun, and I love people who do form. Like, I love, the Demented Sonnets, can't get enough of them. But like, also, you're already doing it, and I think a lot of the best poems are kind of already written, and you just kind of need to like let them come out. It's an act of letting and not necessarily making. And about kind of like being in a place of permissiveness with yourself, and being ready to receive. And I think like just at a basic level, form is like when you're texting a friend and you decide whether to like put autocorrect on or off, like that's a poetic decision. When you decide whether to like send like 8 little messages in a row versus like 1 long message, like that's like line breaks, like, so all of these are sort of already, these poetic decisions are kind of like already being intertwined into your life, and you just have to kind of like awaken to it. And that's what it is. It's a practiced wakefulness, I think.
Yes. We have many questions. I don't know if we can get through all of them, but I'm going to select. This one is dense, so okay. Wondering about anyone's thoughts, if anyone wants to share on this idea of destruction being integral to building our capacities to hope. thinking about destroying systems, structures, internalized shit, stuff like that, if that makes sense. How can we shift the framing of destruction as bad, negative, unknown, something to be scared of? How can we hope through destruction? Thank you. I would like to start because I'm thinking about this all the time. We are presented with paradoxes all the time. We are presented with contradictions all the time. This is the nature of being alive. This is not something we can avoid. This is not something that we can, think our way out of. Even if we end up in the quote unquote utopia, desire will still present itself. And desire has at times contradictory aims for us. So to shift destruction, I don't know if it's necessarily about shifting destruction as much as it is about holding it. And understanding what it means to be in the presence of it, to not want to shoo it away, to know how to deal with the emotional resonances that it builds up in you, and how to channel them. You can't build without destroying. You just can't. The two need each other, not only like metaphorically, but materially. And so how do we hope through destruction? I really like the quote by Miriam Kaba, the abolitionist, educator, youth leader, author, great Twitter presence. She says that hope is a discipline. And while I have critiques around the word discipline for other reasons, I do understand what she's saying as hope is a practice. Hope is something that you do every day. It's something that you build into with yourself. It's something that you build with other people. It's something that you destroy. It is a collaborative effort. Hope is not necessarily imagining a better future if there is one, but it is holding on to the possibility of difference and practicing it. Okay, I'm done.
I feel like for me personally, and this is funny because my long form performance piece, theater piece, whatever it may be at this point, that I have been sitting with a lot recently because it was performed last week, kind of deals with this concept a lot of like destruction and about like other worlds and like the concept of apocalypse especially. And I think that something that frustrates me as someone who's always been fascinated by that concept is that it's kind of been co-opted, as most things are, and in a way that is not necessarily helpful to the concept. So I feel like at least in terms of like what this makes me think of, and I don't know maybe if this is like precisely what is being asked, but this is what it makes me think of, is sort of just, I feel like it's really hard to live in the world and be someone who is so attuned to destruction and also so attuned to what needs to be critiqued and so attuned to like everything that is wrong, because often being honest about that, and we're seeing this in terms of like, obviously we're seeing this in terms of the ongoing pandemic, right? That being attuned to what is happening is getting framed as being, negative or, what's the word I'm looking for? Fatalist or like these other things. And I think part of it too is just like framing, like similar to what Joselia is saying, framing our comfort around that. Because what's wrong with that? Because if we're not honest about the fatalism of, like, for example, letting this particular disease run rampant, like if we're not honest about what the implications of that are, nothing can shift. And I feel like as somebody who can get really granular with their critique, it has also made me really specific about what lights me up and about the things that I know that I want and the things that I love and what I wish the world could be, because it has forced me to create alternatives. And I also feel like when I feel kind of absorbed by pessimism, I have to take into consideration just like who I am as a person, like the fact that I exist like as a queer person, the fact that I exist as an Afro-descended person, the fact that I exist as like all of these things could not have happened without people's embrace of destruction in some way, right? Like I'm a Caribbean person in the sense, also in the sense of like, you know, what goes on politically in that region and what has happened in, you know, like my family's from Puerto Rico. So like the implications of everything that has happened there, right? So it's this thing of like me recognizing also that I'm a testament to the way that destruction has produced things. And I feel like that's the best way for me to honor that.
We have 1 minute left, but I do want to quickly answer this question that asks, well, I'm going to put the questions together. What has creating and writing during this current pandemic moment been for you? And how does poetry help you hold space to understand yourself and other disabled people?
Hi, Justin, how are you? The pandemic was super, obviously isolating. I was by myself for about 7 months. I didn't have any in the start, almost 8 months, and my partner was on furlough. It impacted my money, my time, my tour, my books. And so I didn't write a lot at all the first year and a half. I think I was very within and inside and in mourning and grieving. And that was a part of my writing practice. Other people baked bread and sourdough, and I picked up old loves and habits, which helped develop my writing. Writing then bloomed into other arts practices. I realized I shifted my way of seeing poetry and witnessing poetry. And even then, like in 4 years, I've performed live twice, in person twice in 4 years. And so the way I embodied poetry through a performance or theatrical perspective had to change this tiny little screen. And that shifted the way I wrote in form, in concentration, in interest, in context. And what poetry has done for me, disabled poets have always been my food and my nourishment. Disabled poets are what make it still possible that I get paid for rent and live and survive. So I will always, always be in ever so gratuitous love with disabled poets and with the way we can find each other through chosen family. And I think it's really important now when we're talking about how the ongoing pandemic still stifles and ridicules and murders us, right? We just have to write when we're physically able, when it's possible, because wherever this world is going, I want younger people, the futurity, to understand a different discourse than what the mainstream US heterosexual white supremacist ableist skinny discourse is giving. I really want for people to understand their fullest grief and their fullest possibility models through lenses that are disabled, that are trans, that are not necessarily American, that are not white. So if you're writing in any of those points, in any of those places of celebration, please continue to do so. I will read it, I will buy it, I will sell it, I will, we'll Venmo back and forth, because that's what disabled people do. Thank you.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Daima, Ophi, Tim, Echo, Adrina, Kara. Thank you. I am really grateful that we were in spirit here, in our flesh sacks, wherever we are. And I hope that we can gather again soon. May everyone stay safe, cool, hydrated, and until next time.